Good evening. So I'm now at the moment back in Stockholm. Gonna stay here for a few days. That's not really very interesting at the moment. What's interesting is that I was interested to know what happened with the elections today in Serbia. And since the majority of all news about Serbia is in fact in Serbian and Google Translate isn't like doing the best job ever, I wanted to see how our news reports on it. And well, truth of the matter is I was quite surprised at this particular news. The Swedish news cover the story a bit more well than the Finnish news. I have to say this in their defense. You have so many more Serbs here than you have in Finland, so that does not come as a surprise. They say 20 alternatives, but hardly anybody in opposition. High unemployment, lowered pensions, and fewer future prospects for highly educated young adults is what they have gotten during Aleksandar Vucic's previous mandate. But since they don't have, the fact that they don't have a strong opposition means that Vucic's party will probably win anyway. So they're actually talking about how people, especially in Belgrade, are not happy about the situation. And this is more of the picture that I have gotten during my stay in Serbia. SVT, the Swedish national broadcast, obviously have correspondents in Belgrade talking about what's going on at the moment there. They even interview people, students and like people who are telling Swedish news what's going on in their lives. And the article is this long. And this is pretty long for being SVT, I can say that. Vucic is reported to have hijacked media basically during COVID, as well as in general, he's being accused of owning the media. And somebody even comments that we're living in Aleksandar Vucic's dictatorship. And that's why it's very difficult for other people to practice any other kind of politics in the media. I read the Finnish one. The Finnish one was quite short, basically stating that the current party marched out with a great victory, and that a lot of opposition parties boycotted these elections. Why do they boycott them? They don't say that in the newspapers. Usually you boycott something that you think is rigged, that you are, sure beyond a doubt that it's rigged. They wrote that the regime was very, very loved and very popular before Corona and during Corona, and now after Corona it's even more popular. And I'm wondering what YLE especially is basing this on. I mean, I'm not saying it's true. I also am not saying that Putin isn't a very, very popular leader amongst all Russian citizens. And we all know that Kim Jong-un is the most loved leader in the history of mankind after his late father. So I'm wondering, do they even have any source in Serbia? Do they have any kind of source in Serbia? Why am I asking this? Well, because having spent 3 months in the country talking, and yes, I do talk politics, with a lot of people, I have not met but one single person who has been happy with the regime. Not one. Only one. And that person was a person who was, in fact, campaigning for the current president. Mä oon nyt siis ihan ensinnäkin aivan äimänkekenä siitä, että menikö Yleltä nyt ihan oikeasti se keltainen helvetin perkeleen iso posankka parlamentin ove-edustalta ihan täysin ohi? MV. I met other people who were campaigning for other parties, change mostly. I understood that people wanted change mostly. They don't want Chinese investment in, mining companies and railways and infrastructure that will be 100% owned by Chinese, and therefore China will own the whole country. Most people were not very interested in this. The Finnish journalistic section is of the illusion, if you will, that everything was hunky-dory before, everything was hunky-dory during COVID, and everything is even more hunky-dory now. There are mass protests left and right. What I find most perplexing is that the same media a few days ago wrote a very good article on a certain president's personal opinions on World War II and what actually happened in his favor, of course. And this was, an outrage. I don't even know why this got to the media. Why even bother giving daylight to this stupidity? But it was given daylight and then criticized and sawed to the bone. And now I'm wondering, on what grounds do you write an article about the elections in Serbia in the light that everybody is idle, the populistic party wins and uneducated people vote for him? Have you seen at all what's going on? Have you bothered checking the amount of protests? Because what you wrote was that the current government was very loved before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. Nothing more. And that the regime uses populistic tactics. The interesting thing is that for some reason you could say the same thing about Turkey. You could have said the same thing about Berlusconi back in the day. But things are not really that black and white. And not giving the people who are standing up any daylight to be seen is just sheer disrespect on a personal level, but on a journalistic level, it is incompetence. And this incompetence in this particular matter really puts Finnish journalism in a shameful spotlight. And I'm wondering, who's getting paid?